Good morning. Congratulations on getting here on time. Welcome to this Unitarian Universalist Church, which serves our church here in Birmingham, our church in Tuscaloosa, and all of our folks online. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are today, and wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. Today, we are full of some feelings, aren't we? But we are here to cultivate hope ahead of Election Day. And so as you came in, you were given an index card. And I want my children, my young ones, to especially pay attention, because you're going to turn yours in a little bit. But I want everyone to write on your election card, regardless of the outcome of this presidential race, what are your hopes for this country? And during the service, at whatever time you want, I want you to come put it in the ballot box, because we want to remember that our vote is sacred, okay? So everyone works on that. And my young friends, I want you to bring yours up during the time for all ages, okay? So you have all service to work on it. What are your hopes for your country? Does everyone have one? Raise your hand if you don't, and the ushers can bring you one. Ushers, can you make sure everybody gets an index card, please? Keep your hands up until you get one. To all who are here this morning, welcome home. The prelude prepares us for worship.
Oh, and there's crayons too if you prefer crayons. Is there a family here who would like to come forward to light the chalice for us today? On this day, as with so many Sundays, we come in from the whirling world. The wind, the bright sun, the push and pull of tides and time, from the tumult of global news and local stories, the pain we hear of, the demands on our spirits, the do this now culture that we live in. We come into the sanctuary from that windstorm, the rush of speeding drivers on the roadways, the rustling silence that fills some of our homes, the vastness of a once busy and perhaps now quieter house. All of this can leave us feeling stirred and unsettled. When we give our attention to what's going on around and beyond us in this throbbing world, we can feel windblown. We need places where we can come and find our grounding once again. Come in from the wind. Come in from the whirl. May this be a place where we can experience genuine stillness, even just for a few moments. May this be a place that we can count on as we turn onto the driveway or as we turn on our computers and come seeking our congregational homepage. May we feel pulled into a restorative time of energetic peace. May this be a place of learning, of nourishment, a community that generates new zest in us for the dynamic beauty of this world. Come, let us worship together. In the spirit of inclusivity and welcome, for those of you in person, please take a few moments to greet those around you, especially those you may not recognize. Folks online, please greet each other in the chat.
please rise in body or spirit to join in our opening hymn, number 119, number 119. Once to every soul and nation comes the moment to decide in the strife of truth with falsehood for the good or evil side. Then to stand with truth is noble when we share its wretched crust. Ere that cause bring fame and profit, and 'tis prosperous to be just. Though the cause of evil prosper, yet 'tis truth alone is strong. Through its portion be the scaffold, and upon the throne be wrong. Then it is the brave one chooses, while the coward stands aside, till the multitude make virtue of the faith they have denied.
And now our Justice Minute. Helen will give the Justice Minute.
Thank you. Good morning. Well, we know what's happening Tuesday, and everybody take a deep breath. And I would recommend listening to the little piece on NPR this morning on Sunday, Weekend Edition Sunday, where they give a playlist of soothing music. If you want that. But several things related to elections. Phone banking is happening again. There's an insert in your order of service. And then I've just done a little quick list here, and I'll leave it outside. If you find barriers, should anyone you find barriers to voting, there's a number to call, 866-687-8683. And then there's also, and I think it may be the same number that the ACLU gives 866-OUR-VOTE. And if you have the time and the ability to offer rides to people, contact Carolyn at gbm.org. They're looking for volunteer drivers. And if you need a ride, there's also a number to call at GBM, 205-304-0457. And then there's a national group that's offering rides at 866.4al.vote. And as one who forgot that every presidential election year her driver's license expires in September, somebody reminded me, so make sure your ID is up to date so you don't run into a problem. And if you haven't checked your registration online at the Secretary of State's office, do that. And just make sure you make it to the polls on Tuesday. And thanks to everybody who has signed up to help be a polling place host this coming Tuesday. And I know I don't have to remind you to vote.
Tom?
Good morning. I am Tom Jacobs, a member of the board. Our church is supported by those who call our church home and by those who support the efforts of our church to change our world for the better. If this is your first time with us, please pass the plate. We are just glad you are here. We share our cash plate every Sunday with organizations whose work reflects UU values to care for marginalized persons, advocate for real and systemic change, defend our environment, and promote justice and equity for all. Today we are sharing our plate with our siblings and congregations throughout North Carolina, Georgia, and Florida who suffered devastation through the Helene and Milton hurricanes through the UUA Disaster Relief Fund. The Disaster Relief Fund helps to repair homes and churches devastated by natural disasters. We are recent recipients of this fund as we applied to give some relief to Selma after the tornado that devastated the area. Please give generously to support our fellow UUs affected by these climate change-related disasters. We appreciate your donations, either by placing them in the plate, by mailing your donation to the church, or by using PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle. More information is found in the order of service in the lower right corner. Thank you for your generous support of our church and our Share the Plate recipient. May we give in love and in hope.
I will rise with all my daughters. I will rise against my foes. I will rise for all the weary. I will carry all their woes. I will rise against all hatred for each lowly refugee. I will rise against all hatred while my eyes are veiled in tears. I will rise for religious freedom, for a rich diversity. I will rise for all the weary, for each lonely refugee. I will work for all our women who deserve equal pay. I will work for all our children who await a better day. Sisters, oh, stand with me. Rise up hand in hand. Oh, stand with me. We will rise to spread love across this bitter land. I will rise for love and justice, that we may see a better day. I will rise in peace and service for our world in disarray. I will rise with all my brothers for all those who cannot stand. I will rise with all our fathers who have lost a home and land. I will rise to build up bridges for this broken world we see. I will tear down walls between us that divide you and me. Brothers, oh, stand with me. Rise up hand in hand. Oh, stand with me. We will rise to spread love across this bitter land. Oh, stand with me. Rise up hand in hand. Oh, stand with me. We will rise to spread love across this bitter land. I will rise.
Now is that time when we celebrate our joys and our sorrows in community. As a reminder, when you came in, you received an index card. For those of you who didn't hear the announcement at the beginning, what I'd like you to write on that index card is what your hope is for this country, regardless of who wins, okay? So feel free to bring those up at any point during the service, unless you're one of my young friends, and you're gonna bring those up in just a moment. So for those of you online, please share your joys and sorrows in the chat as we hold one another in love. For those of you in person, you are now invited to come forward and drop a stone or place your ballot in honor of what you are holding today. Please come forward. Try again. There you go. Great job, Rose. Come on, friends. Do you need my help? Come here. There you go, a little bit. You did it. Good job. Great job. Good morning. I wanted to make sure we were covered. Today we celebrate with our friends and neighbors who have celebrated Diwali this weekend. May we be reminded of the Festival of Lights and how light penetrating the darkness brings hope for us all. Today we lift up the family of Mason Brand, who was the boyfriend of Lucia Calhoun, who passed away this week after his injuries. Lucia is the daughter of Maria Calhoun and the granddaughter of Gerda Carmichael. We also lift up Thomas Lauer, who is still in the hospital, but last I knew is out of the ICU, which is encouraging. Yes. Becky is still requesting no visitors due to his exhaustion and fragile state, so please continue to send cards or check in with Becky over Facebook. Patty Falkenberry is still in the hospital, and she would love to see folks. If you want to go see Patty, please have a conversation with myself or one of our Care and Share folks so they can kind of give you an update on what you might expect there to give Patty our best selves. May we keep one another in our hearts and minds in a spirit of community and love. Please join me in this spirit of prayer and meditation. Today's meditation is an embodied experience. So I want you to, if you can, put your feet on the ground, uncross your legs, and feel the gravity of the earth holding you in place. Wiggle your toes as if they were roots of the tree. Our roots connect us to the earth, lending us strength. Gently sway in the wind, turning your body like the trunk of a tree, leaning this way and that, bending as the air pushes and pulls where you are. What surrounds you may sway you. It may make you bend and feel unbalanced. Wiggle your toes again. Know that your roots hold you as you grow and learn. A tree is nourished by soil and by water. You are nourished by food, the earth as you grow, and the water as it provides. You are cared for and loved by many people. Breathe deeply together. Let's do that again. Breathe in. Breathe out. Still yourself. Be really, really still. Know that your roots are strong. Wiggle your roots. Let us take a moment of silence together. Amen and blessed be. Will the children please come forward and bring your vote? They should be all done because we started at the beginning of the service. Oh my goodness. Such wonderful votes. Yes. All right, my friends. Let's see who's been paying attention at home. Or let's see whose parents don't talk about the election, which may be a really healthy, good thing, so no judgment here. All right, so who knows what's happening on Tuesday? What's happening? The election, and I can't repeat the rest of that because I'm legally prohibited from it, but I love it. Lily? There's a presidential election. Is there anybody else that we're voting on? Or is it just these two people? Are they the only ones that matter? No? Do you know, are there other people on the ballot? Yeah. There's a lot of other people. Stark?
There's the senators, there's the vice presidents, there's the, I don't know.
Yeah, we're also voting on vice presidents. That's more important than I think we let on. And we're also voting for senators and representatives and all kinds of other local officials that actually affect our lives way more than the people at the top. So there's a lot of things happening. How are people feeling at your house? This is a hard question. How are people feeling at your house right now? Bad. That's tough. We're also feeling happy. There's good things. We got a lot of candy this week, yeah? That was a good thing. What else? Yeah. We're feeling mixed. That is very true. And I'm about to talk with the adults a lot about those mixed feelings, okay? So you all just placed a vote up here, did you not? Did everybody place a vote? Okay. Do you get to vote on Tuesday? Why not? Because you're not 18, right? So in this church, we want to cultivate a space where you get to share your opinions and ideas because it's important for us to hear from you, okay? So can anyone tell me, what did you write on your ballot? Normally I would not ask the adults this, but we're asking about something different. What did you write as your hope for our country? Francis? You had a cat and a heart. Cats and hearts. I love it. Emma?
I hope that we do not have school.
Hope that we don't have school. Those are things. Lily? Gun safety and safety in schools. Absolutely. Yes?
That we need to pick up around our country because everywhere I look, I see.
We need to pick up around our country because everywhere she sees trash. That is a good thing. Brady? We need more time to stay home and play, don't we? Ezio. Let's be quiet so we can hear everybody, okay? Ezio?
I want it to be good and great.
You want our country to be good and great. That's wonderful. It's okay. Violet. Another vote for no school. Grissom? Grissom wants peace. That's an important thing too. Porter, what about you? If we had more trees all over the world. Yes, ma'am. And people be nice to one another, right? World peace. LGBTQ rights and reproductive rights, right? Our kids pay attention. I don't know if y'all knew that, but they actually do listen. So I want y'all to remember something, right? You cannot vote on Tuesday, but who can vote in this room?
Me.
All of these other people. And they are all voting with you in mind because their votes influence your future, okay?
I can vote.
That's amazing. Okay, so with that in mind, voting is a very important thing. It's sacred to our democracy, and thank you so much for sharing your opinions today. Let's go down and do our lesson together. Yes. What?
Mine was 8 people above 18 and 18.
2, 3. Well, here we are. I've definitely not been stressing about this sermon at all. In congregations all around us, clergy are standing in front of their congregations, telling them for whom to vote, despite the provisions of the Johnson Amendment to the U.S. Tax Code. The Johnson Amendment doesn't prevent the discussion of politics from the pulpit, only the endorsement of candidates. And since its inception, only 2 congregations have ever been in trouble for this, and it's because they took out an ad in a local newspaper endorsing a candidate. With that said, I have tried to be very careful that I am following the Johnson Amendment, and I also realized we have some things to talk about. I debated pulling quotes and actions from the campaign trail, but I frankly didn't want to repeat much of that filth that some people call humor. I considered playing it safe and just reminding you to vote with your values and share some uplifting stories and send you on your way. But in going with the vibe that I've been feeling for months, as many of you have been feeling for months, I chose to go the pastoral route, to address our complexity of emotions, to challenge us to respond to relationships over rhetoric, and to ground our focus and ourselves in love. The spiritual diversity among our congregations here in Birmingham and in Tuscaloosa is vast. And equally diverse is the amount of time and energy each of us tune into the political climate. Some of you are avid listeners of NPR, and you have a good sense of what is going on politically. Others of you are deep into YouTube political analysis. Still others are so overwhelmed by what's personally going on with your lives that you know who's running for president, and maybe that's it. And that's okay too. And as a former advanced placement U.S. government teacher and comparative government teacher, I also considered turning this into a civics lesson. Because believe me, from what I have seen out there, some folks have forgotten what democracy looks like. And this is, unfortunately, what democracy sometimes looks like. Candidates battling it out, saying horrible things about each other, vying for the most powerful seat in the world. And this is also democracy's greatest test. The United States has held on to the title of representative democracy for longer than any other government in its current form. And it feels like she is on hospice, and we are about to lose her. Palpable grief clouds our vision as we wait, wondering not only who will win, but whether the election will be certified, whether whoever it is makes it to Inauguration Day alive, and whether once again a violent mob will threaten the peaceful transfer of power that has been the hallmark of our country for 248 years. This is also evidence-based grief. Ballot boxes have been incinerated. Ballots have been burned. And we expect, although we hope to be wrong, to see intimidation, voter suppression, and even possibly violence at the polls. I believe in democracy. I believe that every voice matters. Each vote matters. And I hope you'll join me on Tuesday in being a poll watcher, even if it just means that those few minutes that you take out of your day to go vote, if you'll just pay extra attention and make sure that everything goes as smoothly as possible, and that you'll report anyone turned away or threats to your polling place. And we'll talk about that more after church if you would like. Every vote matters, even the votes we don't agree with. It is essential to our humanity, to our democracy, that each person is allowed to vote according to their own beliefs, even when we so desperately want to win. Because we so desperately want to win. But we want to win legitimately. Beloveds, there's a lot of talk about opponents in this race. A lot of mudslinging, a lot of fact-checking, although never enough, a lot of problematic vitriol. But I don't have an opponent in this race. Most of you don't have an opponent in this race. We fellow citizens who go to the polls are not one another's political opponents. Our fellow voters can never rob us of our humanity, our soul, our inner core of who we are. We are citizens who see a different path to what we want for this country. And just like us, there is a spectrum for how involved, how well-informed, and how factual everyone else, the rest of the voters in this country, are. Last fall, following the devastating attack on October 7th, and before the full power and might of Netanyahu descended upon the people of Gaza, I experienced a week of hell on earth for actions I believed to be loving both our Jewish and our Palestinian neighbors. I was publicly dressed down, tears and all, in public by someone who I thought was my closest friend, and our relationship has never recovered. I was threatened that my kindergartner was going to be kicked out of school for my actions. And I was forced to meet with a parent who told me about their honorable service in the IDF and their personal slaughter of Palestinians. 2 security meetings were held in Birmingham to discuss my attendance at synagogues, my child's school, the Jewish Community Center, as people were fearful that I was going to commit violence. Me, the Unitarian Universalist, nonviolent peacemaker. Still not really understanding that one. It was a week I'll never forget, and it caused me to question whether I could do this work, whether I could be a Unitarian Universalist minister, whether I could be the interfaith leader in Birmingham. And my own will to live. And in the midst of all that despair, the light still shone through three very special people. One, our board president at the time, Kate Staub, who reminded me whose I am. I am your minister, and I report to you. And second, a man who asked me if I believed that God called me to ministry. After some swift mental gymnastics to code switch in my mind, I affirmed that I was. And he reminded me that only God can take you out of ministry. So we'll leave that and see how that goes. The third was perhaps the most surprising. A parent in Ezio's school who I had had casual conversations with and who I knew was a conservative Jew texted me during that week of hell in all capital letters, "Call me now." I was pretty beaten down by that point, and I didn't call him. And the next day, there was a program at Ezio's school. Timing is just awful. And I attended hesitantly, for I had been told that most parents hated me and to keep my distance. But I would walk through the valley of the shadows for my child. And so there I was, sitting in the back row, avoiding looks, making myself as small as possible. Following the program, I hung out back to let everyone out first. I was really not wanting any further confrontation. But there was only one exit to the room. And as I made my way over, I noticed this parent standing there, back to the exit, facing me, looking right at me. And I realized that I could not avoid this confrontation any longer. So bracing myself for the inevitable, I hung my head and I approached him and I said, I'm sorry for not calling you back. It's been a week. And he wrapped me in a giant bear hug. And he said, "You have nothing to apologize for." And I stammered back, "But you don't know what I've done." And he replied gently, "Yes, I do. I know why you were at that rally. I know your heart. You have done nothing wrong. Let's get our kids together on Saturday and hang out." And I objected again, and I said, "You can't possibly want that. You don't want to be seen with me." But the next day, his kid came over and played with my kid, and we talked for a solid 8 hours about everything I had been through that week. And he did, as I expected, wanted to talk more about why I went to that rally for Palestine, but he never questioned my intentions or my heart. I learned how he defended my actions to his family and friends before we had even talked. To this day, he remains one of my dearest friends, despite me knowing that he is a Trump voter. Love is found in unexpected places. Our friendship, forged on the fires of Mount Doom and Gloom, is able to withstand some really tough discussions. We understand that we can't focus on our differences or we won't be friends. So we focus on what we have in common. We love our kids, our commitment to bridge the divide and not be in a sound echo chamber, our common interests like video games and music. He knows my politics are centered on love for others, even if he doesn't agree. And just as we are all on a spectrum of political beliefs here, so too are all voters. They live much like we do, cocooned in an echo chamber of beliefs and values, some of them more involved than others. Some of them are actively involved in brandishing flags and wearing shirts. Others are voting based on loyalty to a political party which reflects their values. Some are listening to Fox News and Newsmax and reading X 24/7. And others don't listen to those things at all. We voters on the other side are just as much of a spectrum as we are. We should be more judgmental of the politicians, the institutions, the platforms, and the large donors who feed this cycle of hate and division rather than the everyday voter who becomes victim to its well-coordinated attacks. I have more protection than some of you as a pale, cis, heteronormative woman to be in the room with right-wingers without putting myself in much danger. But I truly believe that it's our lives which tells the story for us. Our kindness to our neighbors, even those who have horrible signs up right now. Our values, centered in love, will break through those layers of hate. And if there's one thing that always speaks the language of love to some of us, it's sugar. My kids and I, my family and I, were discussing which houses on our street we were going to go trick-or-treat at, and whether they should trick-or-treat at houses with Trump signs in the yard. I truly believed that our neighbors, those that we know and love and have had conversations with, even those flying gigantic flags and displaying ridiculous signs, I had hoped that they would greet my children with candy and smiles. And that's exactly what happened. When we know each other, it's harder to hate each other. Like many of you, I live with my head on a swivel right now, starting from the moment I wake up. I wake up each morning wondering, have my election signs been destroyed again? I'm mindful where I park my car and wonder if I'm going to have damage to my car because of my cat lady bumper sticker. I want to be a confident, assured voter, 100% behind the vote I will cast. But for complicated reasons, I am frazzled. My nerves are shot. And I wonder how I will respond if I'm asked to defend my positions. Because quite frankly, our country has things to work on despite who wins the presidential election. It's really, really important for us, for all of you, to take stock of your tank right now. Your internal, what do I have capacity for right now? Because we need to be mindful of the ways that our tank is depleted and the ways that it is filled. Because we cannot get through this without each of you. One of the ways I fill my tank is working out at the community center near my home 5 days a week. And because of my spine, I'm not like a gym junkie. And I'm pretty positive that most of the folks who work out around me vote pretty differently than I do. But I also really don't know. Because at the gym, I don't want to talk about politics. I want to complete my obligatory bodily self-care and get on with my day. I've shocked myself at the ability to make small talk with these folks and how deftly we have avoided the conversation looming in the air and sucking all the air out of the room by talking about our common humanity, how our workout went, when the gym is going to fix the showers, why the heated pool doesn't feel heated, and all the ways our bodies aren't cooperating with our minds. I'll admit, a few weeks ago, I was struggling with this a bit more. I didn't even want to associate with people who voted in ways that hurt people that I love. And I still struggle with that overall. A few weeks ago, NPR featured a story from a nonprofit organization who has been studying far-right extremist voters. They go to the most sinister parts of the web where these folks linger. Places most of us would be terrified to live. And in interviewing voter after voter of all these far-right extremists, they found overwhelmingly these voters have something deeply in common. They are all incredibly lonely. Frustrated by the late-stage capitalism killing so many of us, fueled by the centuries-old industrial complex which teaches them that immigrants and people of color are threats to them economically, they found in a populist president someone who seemed to hear them more than the rest of us could. And in choosing that other side, an isolation happened, mainly from people like us, who didn't want to hear hateful rhetoric and begin distancing ourselves from those relationships. I'm guilty of this as well. I'm not calling anybody out. And so the far right gave them what we wouldn't: a place to be accepted and loved and understood, and also very homogeneic, so that they would also be unchallenged. The researchers also came to a fascinating conclusion, showing these people that they are loved and cared for could actually pull them out of this cult-like reverie drowning our political landscape. That's amazing. That's all it takes, is love. And since I listened to that report on NPR, I have been more mindful over the last few months about how I interact with people who think so vastly different than I do, and coming to an understanding within myself how their loneliness is fed by their fear. We are all afraid. Fed by a news source dependent on far-right dogma, many of them truly believe that we are doing gender reassignment surgeries on 5-year-olds. They truly believe that we are aborting full-term babies, and that we are allowing waves of immigrants to come steal their jobs. When we abate their fears, not in long, drawn-out debates, but in a gentle and firm sentence about how such things aren't happening, and we don't support those things either, we bring them into a safe place to think about what they have been taught. We are not dealing with a difference of opinion, but a proliferation of propaganda expertly designed and fashioned to bring out the worst in a certain group of people. Let me make a disclaimer here. I'm not expecting you to go knock on doors with giant signs out front and make friends. I'm not asking you to subject yourself to people who use slurs against you or have abused you. I'm not even asking you to like politicians and celebrity figures who spew hate. I'm asking you to consider the relationships and the people already in your life. That uncle, cousin, coworker, friend, someone for whom you already care about. And the next time you're around them, encourage you to affirm their humanity, the good in them, the love you hold for them. Send them a text that you care about them and hope for their well-being. Meditate and send loving kindness to them. And our Buddhist friends and our meditation group would say, and if it doesn't work the first time, do it again until that loving kindness comes through. Set a boundary why politics is off the table, but continue to affirm your love for these folks. Show them they are wrong about liberals in the best ways that you can. However you show them, exude an abundance of love. In finding safe spaces across these divides, we remember that we are a people of love. We are a people of love who understand sometimes we need to step out of a room before we respond to hate. That's okay. We are a people of love who understand that humans are complicated and we can hold multiple truths at the same time. We are a people who are centered on love. And we are not always good at loving others. And loving others has nothing to do with liking them or the phrases they repeat. No matter what happens on Tuesday, we are still called to make this world a better place. And we do this by building bridges and by being together. We are still going to have to interact with people who voted differently than we did. And we have to work around rhetoric to build relationships. We have to put people before politics. This election will truly test our democracy in a way it has never been tested before. How many of you are sitting out there really afraid? A lot of us are truly and deeply afraid on both sides of the aisle about the election outcome. As the stories of our ancestors and our own spiritual journeys remind us, we are not a people who believe in absolute truth and unyielding dogma. We are a people who understand nuance and context and relevance. Using the imagery from the meditation, we are not trees who are easily knocked over by the storm. We have all been through some stuff, haven't we? We are held up by our values. We are grounded in who we are. We are fertilized in love. We are able to sway with the winds which affect us but do not destroy us. We are people of resilience who survived a global pandemic, who survived 2016 to 2020, who evolve and adapt and grow. Jan Carlson Bull wrote this: "Love is knotted and gnarled, like an old tree fighting with the wind, like branches too brittle for their own good, like roots that relentlessly inform how deeply we can trust and how freely we can forgive." Even though, as president, Trump manipulated and destroyed our trust in the Supreme Court, we have adapted to the changing laws around abortion access. When Roe v. Wade first fell, abortion medications had to come from Europe and took 3 to 5 weeks. And for those of you who remember your All Whole Lives classes, that could make the difference for a person who is pregnant significantly. Now, right now, we have courageous doctors in the United States who are providing the same services, and we can get those medications in 1 to 5 days. Yes. We are a resilient people. We will figure this out. Even though the far right has tried to limit care for trans children, it is doctors in Alabama who are taking this to the Supreme Court. We may not be the majority in Alabama, but we are not alone. And even though we have book bans across this state, and 2 of our libraries are now controlled by far-right extremists, we have created a safe space for those books right here in our community. Our fears are justified. And when we ground ourselves and remember who we are and whose we are, we can make changes to transform our world. And as hard as it is to say this, as hard as it is to hear this, as hard as it is to live this, we cannot live in fear. We can't. In the movie Inside Out, for those of you who have seen it, it's a Pixar movie about emotions, right? And each emotion is assigned a color. What color is sadness? Blue. What color is anger? And if we remember kindergarten, what happens when blue mixes with red? We create purple. Does anyone remember what character is purple in Inside Out? Fear. Fear is a combination of sadness and anger. Our sadness, our anger, our fear are all justified, and we cannot let them rule our lives. Because fear leads to anger, and anger leads to hate, and hate leads to suffering. Fear leads us to the dark side. Let me repeat that. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. Fear leads us down a path of division and empire and torment. Those who are voting out of fear for others, of others, are also suffering. And we are a people of compassion and empathy. We are better than that. We will not let fear run our lives. Our emotions are natural, and we can choose how to respond. Chapter 76 of the Tao Te Ching says this: "We are born gentle and weak, but at death are stiff and hard. Green plants are tender and filled with sap. At their death, they are withered and dry. And therefore, the stiff and unbending is the disciple of death. The gentle and unyielding is the disciple of life. Thus, an army without flexibility never wins a battle. A tree that is unbending is easily broken. The hard and strong will fall. The soft and weak will overcome." Let us be the soft and weak. Let us be the disciples of life. Let us be conduits of love in the world, no matter what. Our courage and our resilience facilitates our survival. And it is our love for one another, our love for humanity, our love for our world, making our struggle and fight for collective liberation worth it. Go in love. Go in hope. And absolutely, go vote. Amen.
Please rise and bow to your spirit for the singing of our closing hymn, number 113, number 113. And if you feel like you would like to join our community today, please come forward and sign our membership book if you feel so inclined. Number 113.
Thank you. And I just wanted to offer, Phil's going to announce it in a minute, but after the service, if you need to talk more, I'm going to be in the Volca room. And we're also going to have vigils all week. So just remember that you are not alone, and we're going to get through this together, okay? And I don't know why this person came up to join the church this morning, because I thought he'd been here forever. So I'm going to let him introduce himself and give him an opportunity to tell you why today was the day.
Well, I've been coming here since college, back in the early 80s, when it was still at the A-frame by the Botanical Gardens. And I was in the church registry and everything. I said, well, I didn't know that you had to sign anything. So I didn't for a long time. So anyway, I was just really moved by the sermon today, and I thought, well, this is a perfect day to sign. So, and I feel so welcomed here, and y'all have put up with me and my son Pax, and I really appreciate that. I feel loved here.
So just to clarify, how many years have you been here?
About 40, 45 years.
We're so delighted. Charles Thompson, everyone, you will continue to support this church, I assume, in all the ways you know how.
Yes.
And congregation, you will introduce yourself to our newest member. We love you. Thank you.
Please check out your order of service and your connection card for upcoming events. After church today, Reverend Julie will be in the Volca room downstairs at 11:30 to give a safe space for anyone needing to discuss their pre-election anxieties. Music Share is our traveling music group that brings joy to folks in retirement communities. If you enjoy singing, whether you feel you sing well or not, and want to join this special group, please check your connection card. Gearing up for the election. Tonight, the American Cancer Association is hosting a documentary and panel here tonight at 5 p.m. about Medicaid expansion, focused on how it impacts maternal health. Dinner is provided. We need help with greeters and tech, so please arrive at 4:15 if you can help welcome our visitors, or connect with the tech folks if you can help with that. Tomorrow, November 4th, is the last phone bank for Faith in Action, and they are paying a stipend and feeding anyone who can help. Information is in your order of service. Tuesday, vote if you haven't already. Tuesday night and Wednesday night, we will have Zoom vigils for those who want to be with others. Info is in your order of service, and we will send out a reminder email tomorrow. We'll have a vigil during the day on Wednesday and Thursday at the church from 10 to 2. Please come to any of these if you need some extra support over the next few days. Please fill out your connection card and check any interests you may have. The staff read these connection cards every week. And do we have any special announcements?
Yes, we do. If you didn't already see it, the UU Climate Justice Revival is coming up this month, November 16th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. It's going to be a day of hope, coming together, celebrating the earth, and looking at ways that we individually can make a difference, and as a congregation. We'll have lots of local groups here that you can learn from, as well as lots of activities for the kids, face painting, outdoor games, scavenger hunts. It's going to be a great time. We need your support. We want you there. Tell your friends about it. Mark your calendars. Please be there. And then November 17th, we'll be leading the service, so we hope you'll come out and support us for that as well.
Hey, it's me again. Anyway, I just wanted to remind everyone that we have the LGBTQIA+ Alliance meeting next Sunday directly after service in the library. So come and commiserate or celebrate, and let your voices be heard on future events that we deal with. Thank you.
In honor of the legacy of our ancestors, let us carry the flame forward as we extinguish the chalice with these closing words. Let us go forth into the world through a door of hope for the future, remembering these words by Martin Luther. Even if I knew that tomorrow the world would go to pieces, I would still plant my apple tree. So may it be with us.